Okay, Dark Jackie says Blizzard servers go down regularly, so what's the difference? The point is not an outage. The point is the single point of failure. The point is that the whole thing's going to be running on Azure or whatever it is that Microsoft's running it on in the back end.
It's going to be really bad.
And that when it's down for everyone. With community servers, with the old way that we used to do multiplayer, it was almost like, I kind of feel like in another 5 or 10 years, someone's going to come around and they're going to reinvent the concept of multiplayer server hosting.
Dedicated servers.
And it's going to be basically
huge.
It's going to be huge.
No way, dude. This is crazy.
It'll never go down, and it's like peer-to-peer, and it's distributed, and it's super resilient.
It's DeFi networking. I don't know. It's someone. I've talked on this show about how rough multiplayer is with Microsoft right now. Yeah. How like multiplayer in Forza is like basically not even a thing because it's so brutal.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Someone tweeted out. I meant to bring it onto the show, but I forgot. I don't know if I screenshot. Did I screenshot it? I might have screenshot it. But they said like the editing software that they were using wouldn't work because the Windows Store was down. It couldn't call home through the Windows Store. Like there's definitely negative things. I'm very concerned about what is going to become the state of multiplayer for a lot of these games if they try to run it through Microsoft. Microsoft on PC, I should say. It's because it's really bad. It's really, really bad.
I like Christopher M's topic here. This is actually something I was thinking and then totally forgot about because you put me under your spell with your blonde hair and blue eyes. Hate that Activision gets bought out when they're in the decline. Why can't we just let them sink or swim? Like, just fine. If they suck and this wasn't sustainable anymore. They're not going to sink. Yeah, you're probably right.
They're not going to sink. It's not going to happen. They have King. They have COD. And yeah, Blizzard's dying. But they have like the King and COD by themselves are just massive. They're not going to sink. Yes, they were doing worse. Yes, their share prices went down, but their share price was no longer going down. And like all their games are in decline, but they're too big. They're not going to sink. They have so much money. But yeah, it was Moore's Law is Dead, a YouTube channel. And he tweeted, "I'm sorry to report that today's video will be delayed due to Microsoft Store going down and my editing app's license being tied to the store." Like, what? That's so brutal. Things I am excited about. There are very negative things, right? Like I'm very concerned about the state of multiplayer moving forward.
Yep.
I'm very concerned about the PC side of things with being tied into the Microsoft Store, being tied into Xbox multiplayer features, being tied into anything like that. That is all a massive concern because they are worst in class in all of those things. I think Ubisoft, I think Origin, or EA, whatever. I think Steam, all of those platforms, Epic Games, all of those platforms do multiplayer, friends lists, invites, lobbies. They do all of that stuff massively, massively better than Microsoft does.
Yeah.
And it's actually like...
It's kind of embarrassing.
Pathetic. It's very embarrassing, very pathetic, the state that Microsoft's multiplayer stuff is at.
I mean, we had me, you, and your brother, and between the three of us, it took like a solid 2 minutes to figure out how to get Rich into the multiplayer lobby.
Yep.
That's it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And like, okay, so lots of negatives, massive consolidation in the gaming industry. That's really bad. Multiplayer stuff, really bad. Lots of very glaring negatives. One potential positive side of things is Microsoft's multifaceted expertise, operating systems, manufacturing,
sure,
etc. Could bring back old IPs that are under this gaming studio that have just been rotting, like Guitar Hero and a bunch of other games. That could be interesting. That could be cool.
Exclusive to Xbox,
probably,
or at least exclusive to Game Pass. I'm sure Microsoft would be wetting themselves.
Is Game Pass on PlayStation? Do you know?
No, not now, but I'm sure that's. I'm pretty sure they've even talked about that being an ultimate goal at some point in the future. And once you do that, the PlayStation is essentially an Xbox. Essentially.
Well, they've been trending towards computers. We've been talking about that for years.
Yep.
Consoles are becoming just more and more like just computers you put out on your TV.
I still hate it for all the reasons that I already said. I think that a duopoly is, or I guess we at least have a triopoly, although Nintendo it's like
They're
you
kind of
got
their own ship.
yeah, you've got Microsoft and Sony kind of duking it out in the ring, right? You know, like if we use a boxing match analogy, like, boom, 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 boom. And then Nintendo's just like kind of they're outside of the arena. They're like in a park and they're playing with little like trucks and they're like
You know when you
this
go
is
to a
fine.
hockey game and they're like a kids hockey game,
Sure.
and there's always like the kids on the ice that are playing and being serious and all that kind of stuff, and then there's like the brothers of a few kids on the ice that are just like messing around behind the seats playing hockey in the back. That's Nintendo.
Yeah, they're playing with themselves.
Yeah. In all the right ways.
So a duopoly then is better than a monopoly. And right now, I mean, I didn't believe it even a year ago. But Sony is on the ropes. I don't see how they come back from this. They literally cannot afford. They cannot afford to build a competitor to Game Pass in a reasonable amount of time, especially if Microsoft is running out buying every game studio that matters. Now, the real nail that Microsoft could put in the coffin of any potential competition is if they start to give game developers some kind of reasonable work-life balance. If Microsoft could actually change the culture of the gaming industry through the subscription model, right, through that constant recurring revenue model, if they could actually shift that, it would be impossible to recruit talent away from Microsoft at that point.
Yeah. How many people are subscribed to Xbox Game Pass?
I don't know if they've listed numbers.
25 million.
Have they? Okay, there you go.
Well, they announced at this acquisition point.
Mm-hmm.
So this post is from 3 days ago because I remember Phil Spencer said, and I didn't remember the exact number, but I thought it was 24, 25. He said we have 25 million subscribers.
Which gives you some idea of what a long game they're playing. Because at like $10 to $15 a month or whatever, that's sure, it's a lot of money. It's 30-something million dollars a month.
But think about trying to pay off $70
But
billion.
yeah, think about paying off a $70 billion debt. At that point, you're not making a sensible business transaction from an investment standpoint. You'd be better off putting that $70 billion in a GIC, like in terms of when you're going to get a return on it. What you're buying is no competition, essentially. So that's terrifying. When you look at a deal like this and you go, yeah, there's no obvious ROI on this. Now, obviously, Blizzard is going to contribute. Game Pass is not the be all and end all of the revenue that they'll get through the Activision Blizzard deal. They make their own money through the Play Store, through the App Store with King, and obviously on Blizzard's own IPs and all that good stuff. But this is a long return, no matter how you slice it. Invisible Ray says, "Oh, go ahead."
I do think if they move titles like Call of Duty and stuff, if they start allowing those types of things on Game Pass, I think that's massive subscriber numbers that will come in because of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
If they move already subscription model games, which I think the only one Activision Blizzard has is WoW, but if they move things like that to Game Pass, that's if
you just moved like 4 million people, or however many people still pay for WoW. Yep.
Which I don't think we know. I don't think they've published numbers in a long time. Subscribers. But you'd have to think that if the latest WoW subscriber count for 2021 shows 4.74 billion. Sorry. Wait, what? I have no idea. 4.74 million. So that would be automatically tacked on. So that just WoW would bring them to 30 million Game Pass subscribers if they added it to Game Pass, which you don't necessarily know that they will.
But that also assumes that all of those people do not already have Game Pass.
True.
Which they might.
Fair.
So then you might be just giving away revenue.
There's definitely going to be a lot of that, especially I think with the console-focused games like COD. I think you're going to have a lot of people that already have Game Pass.
Yep.
But
so I think we've kind of exhausted what we have to say about that. Invisible Ray did say they are Linus. Sony's releasing this year, apparently. It's called Project Spartacus. So Sony will have a Game Pass competitor. The problem is that with what games on it?
Yeah.
Compared to all the studios that Microsoft is snapping up, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, Nintendo may be the only one who's positioned to compete, and their cloud gaming services
Is even worse than Microsoft's.
are awful, worse than everyone. Is there
Yeah.
anyone who does it worse than
No.
Nintendo?
Nope.
I mean, I don't know if I can think of a company that is more hostile towards its users than Nintendo.
I don't even think. I always forget that they have an online service, to be honest.
Yeah, like the whole thing where you can't back up your save files unless you pay them a monthly fee. There's an SD card sitting in the unit, and they will not allow you to put your save files on it so that you will pay for Nintendo Online. Are you kidding me? So if you're through no fault of your own, if your Switch dies and you didn't happen to have Nintendo's backup service, that's it.
It's just gone.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Just gone.
It's because they hate you. That's the only explanation that I can come up with for it, because there's no other reason. Just brutal.
Yeah, Jaden said Microsoft made original Xbox out of fear of Sony dominating the living room. Their monopolistic tendencies are present in everything they do.
Sure, yeah, fair enough. But one monopoly is not better than another more different monopoly. Come on. Because Microsoft has such a warm and cuddly history, right?
Oh, no, I think he was saying...
Oh, the other way?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What was this?
I think Jaden was just saying Microsoft shows their monopolistic hand in everything that they do.
Oh, I thought you said Microsoft was responding to Sony having. I must have just tuned out for a second.
That's why they made the original Xbox.
Oh,
is
I
essentially
see.
what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Microsoft riding in on a white horse to save us.
I'm
from
saving the living room.
big
Now the
scary-
whole living room is mine. Isn't everyone happy?
big scary monopoly. I mean, to be clear, Sony's awful. Remember Memory Stick? Like, hey, there's these flash memory standards that work in everything. Compact flash, secure digital. What's that? Memory stick. It costs way more for no reason. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to hell, Sony. I mean, to be clear, it's not like
Sony is winning. Oh, it's hard to say when literally everything is sold out. But Sony's winning this console generation, aren't they?
they are winning in terms of actual console sales, if I recall correctly. I think the Xbox Series S has been sort of tepid, and the Series X doing great, but supply constrained.
Yeah.
They're still selling PS4s faster than they can make enough consoles. That's kind of crazy. But
I think if the supply was there, though, because before the supply problems, Sony was already winning. So I think if the supply was there, Sony would be winning this current console generation.
yeah, that's fair enough. And at least they actually do have, some exclusives. I mean, that's one way that they won't go completely irrelevant, but I in the long term, I just don't see how it's gonna be even a duopoly anymore.
Yeah, pretty brutal.